know is Stephen Paddock is a man who spent decades acquiring weapons and ammo and living a secret life, much of which will never be fully understood. He meticulously planned on the worst domestic attack in United States history.
Deeply disturbed and dangerous and living that secret life. Las Vegas police just wrapped up a news conference offering new insight into the life and death of mass murderer Stephen Paddock.
Here is the latest. Investigators say Paddock rented a room at the Ogden Hotel in downtown Vegas during the Life is Beautiful festival, just 1 week before Sunday night's massacre. Police say they uncovered video evidence from that hotel.
Another key piece of information, investigators say they have not ruled out the possibility of an accomplice. Here's what Sheriff Lombardo had to say about that.
You look at the weapon obtaining, the different amounts of tannerite available. Do you think this was all accomplished on his own? Self-value, face value. You got to make the assumption that he had to have some help at some point.
A complete search of Paddock's car turned up ammonium nitrate, 30 pounds of the explosive tannerite, and 1,600 rounds of ammunition.
Investigators also released a timeline of events Sunday, from the first shot fired to the moment officers entered Paddock's room on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Casino. This is how it all unfolded. Investigators say the first shot fired by Paddock was at 10:05. Just 7 minutes later, 2 police officers made entry to the 31st floor of the Mandalay Bay, only to realize they were right under the shooter.
Officers on the first strike team reached the 32nd floor at 10:17. At that point, the shooting had already stopped. Officers waited for SWAT backup and made entry into Paddock's room at 11:20, where they found his body. Now, Sheriff Lombardo also clarified the death toll. The number 59 includes Paddock's suicide. 489 people were injured. 317 of them have already been discharged.
Well, tonight the mood remains somber on the Vegas Strip, with hundreds flooding the streets with makeshift memorials for the victims. A Fox 5 Good Day Atlanta anchor Sharon Lawson is in Las Vegas tonight, where she spoke to relatives of some of those victims.
We watched as this makeshift memorial started with just 3 balloons, and now it has grown to this incredible show of support for the lives lost.
Everybody's still in shock.
For Canadian Charlie Walsh, Sunday's massacre hits close to home. She lost a dear friend, Jessica. She was one of 58 whose life was cut short.
She was an educator. She has 4 small kids. The community's rallying behind her family right now. Everybody's in mourning.
When you take a look right now and see this makeshift memorial and it's growing and so many people coming to pay their respects, what do you think?
Vegas isn't one you think that people would rally behind, but everybody, whether they're local, whether they're international, everybody's rallying behind the resorts, everybody.
People like Bridget Howard, a stranger from Detroit, Michigan, who was moved to pay her respects.
You know, I'm just hurt. It's painful to see this. I mean, just to see, to be here.
Are you hoping that by leaving something here today that it'll bring some solace to those who are hurting and who have possibly lost a loved one and are trying to heal?
Yes, I believe so. If they see it, they just know that we are aching, our hearts are aching for them, and we hope that they have strength to move forward.
Along with the candles, balloons, and flowers, some beautiful messages to the fallen, like this one: keeping you all in my prayers, love and wishes, #Vegas Strong. From the site of the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history to the Bellagio, lit candles, encouraging words, and prayers stand as a reminder that this city is united in its grief. And while the healing process will be long, those affected will not be alone. In Las Vegas, Sharon Lawson, Fox 5 News.
Now, as the investigation moves forward, President Trump and the First Lady traveled to Las Vegas today to pay their respects.
And they arrived this morning and toured the scene. Well, the two also met with survivors, family members, and first responders at the hospital.
Our souls are stricken with grief for every American who lost a husband or a wife, a mother or a father, a son or a daughter. We know that your sorrow feels endless. We stand together to help you carry your pain. You're not alone. We will never leave your side.
The president also thanked first responders for putting their lives on the line in the face of so much danger.
In Atlanta tonight, a church congregation came together to start the healing process. Covenant Presbyterian Church in Buckhead opened its doors for what they called a lament and healing service.
Fox 5's George Franco joins us now from outside the church. And George, we understand this isn't the first time this church has come together after a national tragedy.
Well, Russ and Deidre, Covenant Presbyterian Church along Peachtree Road in the Buckhead area tonight opened its doors for a special service of healing and prayer after the massacre in Las Vegas. And church leaders say this is not the first time this group has come together after a national tragedy. At Covenant Presbyterian Church in Atlanta's Buckhead neighborhood, parishioners came together for a service of lament and healing after the bloodshed in Las Vegas. 59 candles flickered for the 59 souls lost in the worst shooting massacre in modern U.S. history.
We as a nation are grieving. We need some kind of understanding, and for us that understanding comes through community, prayer.
Often before we can respond with action and advocacy, we must first sit in grief.
The prayer message from the altar was of love and harmony from a church which regularly holds Sunday services, but added this Wednesday night service in response to the carnage in Vegas.
A good friend of my husband and mine was actually at the concert, and a person standing next to her was one of the injured.
Reverend Katie Almond told me what happened at the Country Music Festival in Vegas is a tear to the fabric of this country which needs mending. She says sadly this is not the first time Covenant Presbyterian has responded to a mass shooting.
This is not the first act of gun violence, and it probably won't be the last, and this congregation gathered after the Orlando shooting as well.
So many have been lost, brothers and sisters, neighbors and friends.
So once again, this was more than a place of prayer and solace. It was also an outreach from the worshipers here to those suffering the most.
Extend our own prayers for the losses, the terrible losses that people have experienced.
And church leaders here at Covenant Presbyterian say they will always gather in prayer and healing after a national tragedy such as what is happening now after Las Vegas. They just say they hope it doesn't come around as quickly. In Buckhead tonight, I'm George Franco, Fox 5 News.
George, thank you. Now, the investigation in Las Vegas is far from over, and we continue to learn new information by the hour, it seems. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll have a live report from Las Vegas and a closer look at Stephen Paddock's girlfriend and her relationship with the killer.